Well, I would just like to welcome everyone that survived our mini ice age and the heavy flu season to be here this morning. You guys are awesome. You could have chosen to be anywhere else in the entire world, like California, Rio, or Italy, but you chose to be here in Durham region. You are the chosen ones. My name is Dan Hanewich. I will be your nutrition coach throughout this workshop. And I'm here to tell you that if 2017 was a rough year for you, like it was for me, that today is Orthodox New Year's Eve, and that 2018 is full of new possibilities, and that renewed energy and greater health is possible. Go Green Team, go. You're going to hear a lot of that. Now, on behalf of Faith United Church, the Wellness Education team, and myself, welcome. We've got lots to do and explore in a short period of time in what I call an enjoy real food approach from our Green Team game plan that's been in the process of making for about 2 years now, which I've been working with my clients since January of 2017. And then in August of 2017, the content of this presentation was confirmed by a doctor, 2 certified nutritionists, and a registered dietitian at the World Fitness Expo in Toronto. So I'm thrilled to share this program, this game plan for you, for your energy and health. I hope you pick up some tips and can use some ideas in creating your own game plan. Everything is covered in the handout and the screen presentation. And if you ordered a PDF copy of the presentation and the handout, you can always have it printed at Staples and then put into a presentation binder if you wanted to have a hard copy yourself. So there's an idea. Okay. To keep this workshop enthusiasm going and keeping the enthusiasm up for this enjoy real food approach, I'd ask you to respond with the words enjoy real food every time you hear the word diet. And you have to do it as fast as I do. So if I say diet, we got it. Okay, perfect. Secondly, I would like you to keep the slide content simple for you. So don't try to get everything all at once. Building your own game plan should be a slow, simple process for the greatest success. If you try to do everything all at once, you're setting yourself up for a recipe for disaster. That's not the way to build your own game plan in 2018. It took my clients several months to get on to stage 1. It took them a few more months after that to even begin to start to do things on stage 2. And finally, jot down just 1 or 2 words, either on the screen presentation that you have, which is a series of somebody hold up what they think is the screen presentation. Yes, so you would just jot 1 or 2 words down on that per slide, just to remind you about things later. And the same thing on the handout. We're going to kind of go back and forth between the handout and the screen presentation. So without further ado, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's do this. Please meet your inner motor. Oftentimes when we see people out there, we take a look at their physical appearance. This is not how God sees you. God sees you like this. He is very interested in your thymus gland. He's very interested in your adrenal glands. He sees everything about you because this endocrine system, it's beautiful, and it's responsible for all of our energy and health. It's been perfectly designed for secreting different types of hormones that regulate our metabolism. Our endocrine glands run at a certain very high frequency and vibration, and the slowing of these glands is associated with aging, physical deterioration, loss of muscle tissue, lower energy levels, and a slower ability to gain one's fitness goals. Low libido, in the case of adrenal fatigue, cortisol levels begin to run through the roof. leading to tiredness, low libido, chronic fatigue, and eventually burnout. I have a set of questions you can email me for that if you answer 5 of the 15, chances are you're already into the second stage of adrenal fatigue. So you can always email me for those questions if you'd like. Sugar, alcohol, and to a lesser degree salt, cravings, along with a bloated feeling, are also directly associated with adrenal fatigue. Every one of our endocrine glands can be revitalized by eliminating certain bad guys, certain bad aggravating foods, such as processed foods, sugar, gluten, bread, dairy, soy, GMOs, and adding in higher alkaline foods, along like fruits and vegetables, with some basic exercise and lifestyle solutions. These aggravating foods were consistent across the board, with all 4 presenters at the World Fitness Expo in August of 2017, supporting our Green Team strategy of energy and health, our game plan, which I've been using since January of 2017. And the basic 4 aggravating foods to try to limit, counter, or get rid of, along with lowering saturated fat from an overly heavy diet of meat, are grains, yeast, sugar, and dairy. You didn't think you had to pay attention in this workshop. Every time I go to say the word diet, you're to respond as fast as I do with enjoy real food. Okay. In every single case where patients and clients employed simple diet, exercise, and lifestyle changes, these countered and reversed nutrient deficiencies caused from chronic disease and stress, and were able to boost their inner metabolism and make real health gains. Exercise to preserve your beats. Go, Green Team, go. All you need on stage 1 is 10 to 30 minutes of low-grade cardio per day. Low-grade cardio examples: walking, swimming, cycling. So clean up the fuel intake and add a little exercise is the basic answer for a lot of energy and health concerns. Exercise strengthens our heart. Our heart is able to beat at a lower rate doing the same work. Therefore, we don't wear it out, but preserve our beats for an older age. Exercise has many other health benefits as well, such as lowering your cortisol and your stress levels, keeping your lymph system moving to get rid of toxic wastes that accumulate. One of the latest and most interesting studies on exercise that just came out a couple of weeks ago showed that 90 seconds of walking every 30 minutes cut glucose levels by almost half. Half! And insulin levels also dropped. That's amazing. If there's any kind of note that you should be jotting down, that might be one of them, okay? Because note to self, if I have a job or a lifestyle that is sedentary, I need to walk for 90 seconds every half hour. This is really easy to do. This is a very simple way of not only preserving my beats, but helping me to keep my insulin and glucose levels lower. Stage 1. What's the first thing that you notice off this slide? Okay, anything else? Anybody notice anything different? It's kind of hard to read but there's things up that it doesn't matter where you start on stage 1. So even if you're looking at your notes, even if you're looking at the screen presentation, even if you're looking at the handout, which it's right on the cover, it shows all 3 stages, it doesn't matter where you personally start. But meat, saturated processed foods, saturated fat, processed foods, and sugar are not the best choices to build our meals around. Because what are most meals built around in this day and age? What do we normally look for when we're creating a meal? A chunk of meat. And then we build our meals around that. So what do I need to add more of? I beg your pardon? Vegetables? Yes. So we existed for 2 million years as gatherers and hunters, eating only 10% meat or fish, leafy greens, roots, fruits, nuts, and berries. We got away from that heavy polyphenol alkaline. You'll hear more about this. Polyphenol alkaline way of eating 10,000 years ago, when we switched to adding a lot more acid lectins like grains and dairy into our meal plans. Disease loves an acidic environment. Disease hates an alkaline environment. Now, in the last 20 years, we're really stressing out our cortisol levels and homocysteine levels. So we need to get away from this idea of building everything around meat. So, is it time for change? That should have been a roaring yes from everybody down there. Is it time for change? Thank you. Okay. What do I need to add more of? Fruits and vegetables. Anything else? What is it? Yes. Okay, so we take a look at what do I need to add more of? Okay, there was right here we've got so we want to try to limit. We need to add more alkaline fruits and vegetables. What's at the very top? What are meat eaters not getting enough of? Can you read the little words up there? They need more beans and greens. And if you take a look at the lifestyle, what do they need to get more of? Water and sleep. Okay? If we do these simple things, we are on stage 1. And then adding in a probiotic and exercise 10 to 30 minutes a day, or especially getting up and walking for 90 seconds every half hour to lower insulin and glucose levels, we can easily master stage 1 in how long? 6 months. If you started doing just these simple things that I started talking about over the course and add one of them in next week and one of them in the following week and another one in the following week, how many of these things were there? There's not all that many on this diet. Thank you. God, it's a tough audience sometimes. So on stage 1 diet, you should be able to master, and that's the one key. I'm going to give you different keys for each stage. The real key for stage 1 diet is to enjoy real food. We're trying to get away from so much meat. We're trying to add in more fruits and vegetables which are more alkaline. And that's just by doing that one thing, that ought to remind you a little bit more exercise, making sure I'm getting enough water and sleep, and taking in 1 probiotic a day. If you do that, you are ahead in terms of energy and health of over 90% of the entire world population. Is this not an easy stage to do? Hello? Okay. We can talk about that. I've done a couple of things to help me sleep as well, too, because one of the things that I don't have, because I live on Adelaide Street, right across from that new Costco mall, is I have a street light now shining right in. So I have a double set of curtains, but I went down to Bed Bath & Beyond, and I got myself one of those masks that cover, and my sleep is so much better because you're fooling around with your melatonin and your cortisol levels, which really need to have complete darkness. So there's one suggestion. Another thing is absolute quietness. Some people have even got those apps where you have a little calming, like an ocean kind of a sound and that kind of stuff. But the point that I want to make right here, before we move on, is there should not be a reason why any of us cannot do this. And if we do, we're ahead of 90% of the world's population in terms of our energy and health. If your energy and health is important to you as you age, this is where we start. This is also a good place every time you get off the track, every time you go away on a holiday, every time you have more than a 20% moment and you're starting to get further and further away, and holidays come along, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and you're going out, and you need to do those social events, or come to church and have cookies and everything afterwards. That's got to be a 20% moment. And 80% of your time, if you're doing these simple things, you're going to be ahead of 90% of the world's population in terms of changing your energy and your health around. It's an easy stage to accomplish. It's the perfect stage to come back to. Questions. I love questions. Is it time for change? Okay. Can I improve the functionality of my digestive, immune, and nervous system health through the functional properties of diet, exercise, and lifestyle? Can I impact my digestive wellness, hormonal well-being, induce healing, and support optimum energy, health, and wellness through the functional properties of diet, exercise, and lifestyle? I can master stage 1 in how long? I am starting my stage 1 diet, enjoy real food. I am starting my diet, exercise, and lifestyle changes when? Write down your answer on that line on the screen presentation. I will and then now we're going over to question 1 again, because I created this presentation in Google Slides and it wouldn't allow me to start a second column with the number 6. So on number 1 on the second column, be specific, like Sunday at noon. So I want you to write down, I will double check my diet, exercise, and I'm going to keep you guys right on your toes to this whole presentation. Exercise and lifestyle goals every week on, write your answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Write your answer down. If I'm trying to lose weight, I will, This is a tricky question. So I because it comes out, just a second here, let me see where this is. Okay, so this is now on, okay, so this is now, please turn to page 3 in your handout. A little better than halfway down. Read to me what's underlined in bold. That's the handout. Yeah, the other one's the screen presentation. There's something outlined in bold on page 3. That's right. Okay. So now we've changed that in our Green Team Community Support Group online on Facebook. Hint. Okay. We have changed that 500 calorie fast to 1,300 Thursdays. Now, you only do that if you're eating enough, this is for people who want to lose weight. You only do that if you're getting enough caloric intake to start with all the other days of your week. So you want to know how many calories you're supposed to be taking in if you want to lose weight. So you take your current weight, minus 20, times 10. That's how many calories you need to be 20 pounds lighter than you are now every day. If you're not getting that amount of calories, you are literally slowing down your metabolism because your body perceives a famine has come on. I better slow this person right down and store everything in the form of fat because I'm trying to save this person's life. If you are eating enough calories that you're supposed to for 20 pounds lighter than you currently are, then you can apply a 1,300 calorie Thursday. It would be terrible if you were not getting in the number of calories that you currently needed for 20 pounds less than you are, and you're slowing your metabolism down, and then you did a 1,300 calorie Thursday on top of that. Don't do that. That only applies if you are getting the required amount of calories, and most people are not, especially women. It's been my experience in the gym that more women are starving themselves, and they're not getting anywhere near the amount of caloric intake that they should be taking in. You have to keep your motor and your internal endocrine glands revved up, especially if you want to lose weight. So then the next one is to help me switch from a meat-based focus to more of a plant-based focus. I will, page 4 of the handout. We're going to be here all day if it's going to take you that long. A meatless Monday. A meatless Monday. So try a meatless Monday. You don't need as much meat as you think you do. Okay, the next question. Exercise will help me. We just had a slide about that a minute ago. Preserve my beets. Okay. All right. Instead of a pill for every ill and a drug for every bug, I can use the triple modality of diet, exercise, and lifestyle. Okay? Instead of a pill for every ill and a drug for every bug, I can use the modality of diet, thank you, exercise, and lifestyle. And I can improve and restore my energy and health. And I can enjoy blank, blank. Thank you. Real food. Okay. Next slide, please. Stage 2. In this one, so in stage 1, I gave you a little thing every time you hear the word diet. That should spark you to a couple of other simple things. That is your little prop throughout 2018. There's going to be all sorts of diets and everything come out there over the course of this year. And every time you hear the word diet, exactly. If you started doing that, you're well on your way to mastering stage 1. This is an easy approach. Do not make it complicated. Keep it simple for you. Stage 2, I'm going to give you the props of your own 2 hands and fingers as you approach every meal. Okay? Now, you're stepping out of in stage 2, you're stepping out of the boredom of being on stage 1 for 6 months. Your left hand identifies the acidic. Everybody do this with their left hand. Your left hand identifies the acidic, nutrient-depleted, aggravating foods of the red team. What are they? First of all, everybody give me your thumb. Grains, yeast, sugar, dairy, and lectins. I'm not so much worried about the lectins. We'll talk about that if you have certain food sensitivities and allergies, but these first 4 are the worst. These first 4 are the worst for plugging up all of your endocrine glands, your internal motor. These 4 categories are the ones that have been found to do every kind of debilitating thing in the body that is imaginable. So specifics on why these are the bad guys are found on page 10. You don't need to look at it now. Just need to mark down, check out page 10. And you need to mark down, check out page 21 is filled with further references for you to research. Okay? So I want you to use your left hand like the visualization of Mr. Bean approaching a buffet and wanting to choose energy-building and healthy foods and stay away from the red team's internal motor-destroying foods. So, for example, Mr. Bean is going to approach our Faith United snack table after service on Sunday with a plate in his right hand and his left hand ready to identify red team items. And I want you to tell me, because we know that this is. Okay, so I want you to tell me what Mr. Bean sees, because this is going to be Mr. Bean approaching the table after Sunday at church. God, I hope I get this right. What am I going to see? Are you keeping count? Never be so self-righteous that you can't have the odd thing here and there, but did I win? Did the green team win? 2 good things and 1 bad thing? What was the score? 2-1. I don't know if that looked like Mr. Bean or not, but all right, so your right hand contains 5 green team strategies to take and win at every meal. And this is really the important part of stage 2, is the pushback inflammation issues. We've already worked stage 1 for 6 months. We're on to stage 2. We're trying to limit, counter, or get rid of certain items. In this day and age, it's almost impossible to get rid of everything, but we can limit them. And we can learn how to counter them. So you're playing it with your fingers. You're playing a game. You're approaching the meal, and you're saying, what's on my plate? And then what do you need to use from the green team strategies to beat that number and win? If you can win at every meal, you're going to win in terms of your energy and health over time. That's the simple part of stage 2. So if you're looking at number 1, that says RST. That is the ritual of self-talk. So you're supposed to, when you get up in the morning, find 3 things that you're grateful for. Scientifically proven that this is going to make you look forward to your day. And then if you simply do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and analyze your plate before breakfast, lunch, and supper, you're going to be able to counter with these 2 fingers right here. And these 2 fingers here are probiotics and polyphenols. And we'll get into more about that. Okay? So in stage 2, we're upping our game plan from stage 1. We're trying to get in probiotics 2 or 3 times a day. We'll talk about those a little bit more. The first 3 things, the ritual of self-talk, giving yourself 3 things that you're grateful for first thing in the morning. Your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before breakfast, lunch, and supper. And the 5th one is just before bed. What 5 things were you grateful for that day? Scientifically proven to make you look forward to your next day, to make you look forward to continuing on your game plan, to make you forward to looking at life in a positive manner. So don't discount the importance of this ritual of self-talk, combined with enough water and sleep, which you've already mastered in stage 1. These 3 items are all that Jay Cordiello, who is a personal trainer to the stars, uses to transform movie stars into the shape that they need to be for their next upcoming role. Look how simple this is. We haven't even gotten into food. So the idea of being able to be grateful for things at the start of your day and at the end of your day, put you in the right frame of mind, and get enough water and sleep, you're going to see energy and health results in 6 weeks. Followed by these two, now we're starting to really combat inflammation issues within the system. So probiotics and polyphenols. So on stage 2, we're revving up or increasing the amount of support that we're giving to our gut bacteria that we forget about completely over Christmas. We leave those guys, those good gut bacteria, feed off of fiber and probiotics. And the bad guys feed off sugar and yeast. We leave those good guys in the trenches during the holidays without any support. We feed the wrong team. We build up the enemy. So we need to be thinking this way of adding more probiotics and more fruits and vegetables, the polyphenols, more of a plant-based diet into our life for our energy and health, for our endocrine glands, supporting our good gut bacteria. So if you want to beat the number of red team items on your plate, think of using the props of your fingers and hands. Think of the visualization that you're going to approach a meal like Mr. Bean. You're going to go, and you're going to win with these two guys. Okay? So I'm going to take more of the good stuff. If I've got that on there, I want to win at this meal 4-3. That's how you do it. Stage 1 is simple. Stage 2 ups the ante a little bit, but don't forget, you've now upped your exercise. You've now upped a few other things. Let's go on. Let's have a little bit of a demonstration here. While I'm getting ready to make this polyphenol water, please check out the Green Team game rules and all of the wonderful polyphenols. That's the part on the left. Can you see it or not? That's how we're going to win at every meal. And if you take a look at, here's the simple 4 ways of making you to get an automatic 4 points right off the bat. So if you take a look at, this is what I do every single night before I go to bed. This little jug, $4 at Walmart. It's making sure that I'm getting the amount of water that I need every day. How are you making sure of the amount of water you're getting every day? How many? Okay, so if you've got your own game plan, that's a good thing. If you don't have a game plan, this is a great place to start. This is how much water our system needs a day. It's 8 cups, 9. So all I do is, because I can't stand drinking that amount of water, so I want to up my water. I want to make it slightly alkaline. So a little bit of Just Juice Blueberry. This will last all week. Just Juice Cranberry. I used to use Zevia cream soda. It had 4 grams only of sugar in the entire thing of water, but I needed the fizz. I wanted my water to taste like pop, like an alkaline pop. So, but now, it's funny the way that your taste buds change as you are progressing along the stages. So back 1 year ago, I used Zevia cream soda. Now, I cannot stomach the sweetness of Zevia cream soda. So now I use Zevia ginger ale. And this one has no sugars at all, and it is only it's sweetened by Zevia. So, yes. Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. You can do whatever you want on your game plan. This just helps me every single day, and I'll show you what I do. And this does not take a lot of my time just before I go to bed. I put it in the fridge, and it is totally ready. Oh my gosh, did I ever estimate that amount of water? That was a fluke. So that's what I do every day, and I stick that in the fridge. First of all, I fill up a glass one, and I take it upstairs to my nightstand. And I usually have 2 of these going all day. I just keep filling them up and drinking it throughout the course of my day. If I come next night before going to bed, and that thing is half full, did I get enough water? If it's empty and ready to be filled again, I know I'm on track. You have to do little things on stages 1, 2, and 3 that keep you on track. So when I say stage 1 diet, that enjoy real food, that little bit of exercise, that one probiotic, doing those things are your little thought provokers. On stage 2, it's not going to work unless you approach the meal or the snack table like this. You need to know, you need to have your little clues, what's going to work for you. Okay? Turn to page 6 in your handout. In stage 2, what are we trying to do? What are we trying to do in stage? Right here. Limit, get rid of, or counter. Okay? And what are we trying to limit, get rid of, or counter? No. Okay, you want a simple way to remember this. Guys don't drink dairy. Guys don't drink dairy. G, grains. Here's the U that takes you over to yeast. Grains usually contain yeast. G-U-Y. Sugar. And dairy. Guys don't drink dairy. Okay? Yes. Yes. Okay, so the grains that I'm talking about most importantly are breads. You need to break up with bread. Bread has both of the bad stuff in it, and it has the yeast in it. Okay? So if you're taking a look at the endocrine glands need all sorts of active living enzymes, botanicals, micronutrients that you get out of real food. And 10,000 years ago, we added in this white powder of flour, and we added in this white powder of yeast. They're just as bad as the white powders of cocaine, and seriously, they're just as bad. They plug up. They've been responsible before. There's absolutely no nutrient value in them whatsoever to build up your internal energy of your endocrine glands. You know, the ones that God looks after for you? Okay, so like if those endocrine glands are not getting the active living enzymes, the botanicals, and everything that's necessary for them, they will try to keep the motor going by robbing your body elsewhere to get those nutrients. Sooner or later, something is going to break down. So when I said that these 4, and these 4 have been, when we were talking about sluggish thyroid, when we were talking about adrenal fatigue, and all of the presenters across the board, those are the 4 things to limit, counter, or get rid of for your energy and health. Those are the things that will start to break down your internal motor, especially if your diet is high in them and high in saturated fat. So you want to limit the amount of meat, go more plant-based, and start to limit, counter these guys. The only way you're going to do it is because these are addicting things. These have addicted people for 10,000 years. We've built our culture around them now. And it's getting worse, especially when you start to take a look at factory farming and everything else that's going into the meat part of things, and the GMOs and everything else that's going in there. I'll talk a little bit more about GMOs a little bit further on. But it's just important that on this page 6 that we know that we're trying to limit, counter, or get rid of. And so if we can't get rid of it, we can counter it like a game. we can win at every meal. And if you're doing that, then you're taking a giant step forward for your energy and your health. Turn to page 8. We've already talked about these foods. As being endocrine gland disruptors or aggravators. But now let's discover your medical reason why our green team plan of winning at every meal is an important game plan to use to win back our energy and health. So please keep track on your fingers, one for every one of these that I'm going to list off this list of inflammatory diseases. Abdominal fat, acne, allergies, arthritis, asthma, autoimmune disease, bleeding gums, celiac disease, digestive disorders, depression, eczema, fatigue, headaches, heart disease, inability to lose weight, irritable bowel syndrome, joint stiffness, and or sinus disorders. So what I would like you to do, I would like you to write that number down on page 8, and again, beside my medical reason why on the screen presentation. That's this one right here. It says, my medical reason why. And then I want you to write just under that, January the 13th, 2019. Not 18, 2019. Because I'm going to tell you something, that each one of these inflammatory diseases are controllable through this triple modality. And when you see that number, like I have this year, go down by 1 or 2, you are making absolutely incredible progress. So I've had allergies cleared up, and now I've had skin problems clear up that I used to get on my legs every winter. And that's fantastic, incredible progress. Why? Because I'm getting older and I'm getting better. Okay, next slide. Here we go. Let's quickly review your stage 2 goals. What do we need to do more of? Right in purple. Eat well, move more. Okay, we need more of an alkaline fruit and vegetable plant-based focus where we limit, counter, or get rid of grains, yeast, sugar, dairy. And to a lesser degree, unless you have specific food allergies, lectins, 80% of the time. What does 80% of the time mean? Page 4 of your handout. Under stage 2, the last line. Stage 2 is right here. It says stage 1, stage 2. There's stage 2. 5 or 6 days of the week. Let's get really specific. 80%. 21 meals per week. Minus 80% equals 4.2. Thank you very much. 4.2 meals a week you can completely mess up on, and you're still going to counter inflammation issues and see energy and health gains. Is this not a workable and realistic plan, even to someone who is a very hectic social life, like a lot of Italians that I know, and they're going out 4 nights a week? Okay? As long as you have several go-to breakfasts that you can go to that are healthy, and you have several go-to lunches that you have and that you've managed to create on your game plan table that you can go to, you can mess up 4 meals a week and still see inflammation issues reside, what's the word I'm looking for? No, it's like go backwards. Yes, okay. And you can see energy and health gains. This is not a difficult game plan. 80% of the time. I'm not asking you to do things. Sunday, if you were perfect all week, and of course you can have that sweet off that table on Sunday after church. Okay, so the whole idea is don't beat yourself up. The whole idea is try to be progressive, try to get onto stage 1, progress as much as you possibly can to stage 2. Easy enough, and you're still allowed 4 meals that you can completely mess up on. And you're going to win in terms of your energy and health 80% of the time. and you're going to see health and energy results by this time next year. All right, so let's take a look at what else we're trying to do here. Remember, even though this is more of a challenge than stage 1, you progress and master the suggestions as you see fit in your game plan. So it's not taking all of this information and applying it all at once. It's creating your weekly game plan. You wrote down a day when you're going to actually try to review this. And I'm going to give you another prop when we get on to stage 3 that's going to help you to do this weekly plan. Okay? So our green team diet plan is to what? If you take a look at our green team diet focus, our green team diet focus is, can you see the little thing, the green team diet focus? Okay, is to what? We've talked about that. What's the 3 thing? Page 6, we're trying to limit, counter, or get rid of. Limit, counter, and what are we trying to limit, counter, or get rid of? By Jove, I think you've got it. Okay. It's not complicated. Don't make it more complicated, even if my slides are complicated. Pick 1 or 2 things off it. You'll gradually get it. Okay? We won't go into it right now, but I'll give you an example. If you have one of those red team items, boom, 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 okay? So you're going to get really good at this, approaching your plate just going. You're just going to get really good at it, okay? And simply have 2, if I had 1 green and 1 red team item on my plate, and I took 2 probiotics, a drink of polyphenol water, and had an apple, what's the score? 2 probiotics, polyphenol water, and an apple. 4 for the green team. 1 of those things, 4-1. Did I win at that meal? Yes. This is not a hard game plan. No. Processed sugar. All the sugars that you see in nature come with fiber and come with other things in them to offset the damage that sugar does, okay? Processed sugar doesn't do anything for you. It's like cocaine or heroin. So is flour. Okay, so please write down your personal why. You need to master right at the bottom there. It says my personal why. So my example on that one was very simple, and some of my clients too. It might be easy for me carrying around 200 pounds now, but what about when I'm 85? So we've already done your medical reason why. We have a number that we're going to try to reduce by 1 year from now. So what is your personal reason why? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move on it. Write it down. Write down your personal reason why you should be on diet stage 2. So this should give you a little bit of a motivation, not only your medical reason why, but your personal reason why, that you want to start on stage 1, master it, and 6 months, and gradually move towards stage 2, where you can start to approach the tables like this. Okay, because those are going to be your little reminders. Without your little reminders, you're going to forget. You'll forget. It's got to be enjoy real food for stage 1. It's got to be you're going to win with your green team items, okay? Yes, so very simply, the two types of probiotics that we use in stage 2, okay, are these ones right here. Okay, so this is the one that I use is AOR, Saccharomyces boulardii, and you have a picture of that on there. And the second one is Udo's Choice Super Advanced Probiotic. And that's really, really, this has several 100,000 strains, and this one has one strain. This particular one strain acts like a guard in your gut. So good gut bacteria feed off of probiotics and fiber. We're not getting enough good probiotics in our system to help out our good guys. And a lot of us are not getting enough fiber, especially if we're eating, our meals are built around saturated fat and those 4 plug-me-ups, okay? So we need, and the bad guys live off of sugar, which is one of those things, and yeast. The bad guys live off sugar and yeast. The good guys live off probiotics and fiber. This particular strand here acts like a guard in your gut, where if the good comes in and says, oh, you're a good guy, I'm going to help you and help the good guys. If it sees a bad thing coming into your gut, it says, here, let me help draw you right out. That's exactly what this one does. So there's plenty, you can make your own choices on probiotics, yeah? Most of the probiotics, unless you're getting absolutely 100% Greek yogurt, do not have the strains in them and do not have hardly anything. And now they're being masked over with lots of sugar content. So that's what you have to watch with trying to get. This one here has like 11 strains, okay? So we're not getting anywhere near the probiotics that we're supposed to be getting right now, and we're dealing with inflammation issues that have gone right through the roof. In fact, over 90% of the population now in North America has inflammation issues. So if you're trying to counter that, you're not going to do it with just a simple kefir or yogurt. That's why it's important to be ahead of 90% of the population and begin and take one of these things. And you're going to see more and more advertisement. You're going to see Jameson's going to come out with Jameson Essentials. You're going to see all sorts of things that are starting to come out now. Why? Because we're years behind where we need to be, and all of the multi-billion-dollar supplement industry is now trying to get on board. And so when we get to the page on supplements, I'm going to try to keep it simple. But really, probiotics is one thing that we should be starting on stage 1 and upping up the ante in stage 2. Okay? Okay, great ideas for any stage. Stay on track. You can help yourself by every time you hear the word diet in 2018, you're going to counter that with enjoy real food. Even if you're driving along and all of a sudden you hear diet on the radio, every time somebody talks about a new diet, you're going to counter with thank you. Okay, and then you're going to master that stage, the little exercise and the lifestyle things that come with it, which are next to nothing, and move on to stage 2 and progress from there. A 1-hour workout is only 4% of your day. No excuses. Keep your internal motor revved up and preserve your beats. Get up, everybody, get up. It's been over a half hour. You need to walk around for 90 seconds. There's coffee over there. Coffee is a polyphenol. So is red wine and dark chocolate. This is not a bad game plan. Yes, that's right. We're ready to start again. Zevia, you get that at the superstore. Yeah, right in the green aisle, you get both Just Juice Cranberry, Just Juice Blueberry, and a little 6-pack. Yeah. Okay.
Give me the high sign when you
Yeah. Okay, we want to keep on track because we've got a lot more to cover. Okay, on to the next slide. We can't help when we're talking in stage 2 about pushing back inflammation issues, which is really what stage 2 is all about. Getting in those probiotics, upping our exercise. We never really talked about that, but the exercise becomes a lot more. We're starting to build a little bit of muscle mass, maintain our muscle mass, and so we're moving from a stage 1 where you're just trying to get up for 90 seconds every half hour, and you're trying to get in that 10 to 30 minutes of walking, running, or swimming, or cycling. You just want to try to do that, and then in stage 2, you're trying to up your exercise. The good thing to know is by the time you get into stage 2, you never need more exercise than stage 2 has. But you do need to be doing once or twice a week where you're doing something where you feel a little bit breathless to strengthen your heart. And you've got to maintain your muscle mass. The latest information that's coming out, and it's going to be no good for us, no good for the next generation, probably the generation after that, is I just got an article by a naturopathic doctor, Rajesh Ragbir, that used to come here and do talks. Where's Marilyn? Marilyn would remember Dr. Rajesh that gave talks here. And he sent forth an article from the Naturopathic Association showing that in terms of metabolism and everything else, everything that was vital for the body's health and energy can be pretty much cured through exercise. So it really is this combination of doing something with our diet, cleaning up our diet, and getting in that little bit of exercise on stage 1, and then upping the ante on stage 2. If that's all you take away from here and the words, enjoy real food, you're going to win. But let's talk a little bit more, because part of the inflammation issues, and I would not be doing my job if I didn't tell you on how to tighten up the integrity of the gut and how to deal a little bit more with this. So all of the people that are really successful, and this particular one here, this one is from Curing Leaky Gut. It's a little YouTube video that you can get by Dr. Michael Clapper. And so you remove the ongoing injury. So you getting rid of or countering. If you can't get rid of them, you're going to counter them at every meal and win at every meal, those first 4, okay? You're going to remove the ongoing injury, so that's numbers 1 and 2. You're going to remove the aggravating or the allergenic foods, and then you're going to repair the gut integrity. So it's no sense at all going out and buying quercetin and L-glutamine, because supplements do not do the job without getting the basics of stage 1. You need to start moving. You need to start cleaning up the diet. You need to get the little bit of those exercise. When you start doing that, supplements can help benefit you. If you can't do that, if you don't do that in that manner, supplements are useless. So we're trying to get rid of the aggregating foods, the 4 red team items, or at least we're trying to counter them or limit them at our meals. And as a note here, I would like to add that the top 8 items that will destroy your gut bacteria are, if you want to list these, you might want to list them: antibiotics, prescription drugs, GMOs, microwaves, gluten, yeast, sugar, and dairy. Notice that none of these are real food items. They're all acidic. Next, we want to repair the gut barrier function. And so repairing the gut barrier function. To do this, we use 2 supplements once we get on to stage 2. If you're not on stage 2, don't worry about it. They're not going to do any good. I already mentioned that. Okay, so the first one is quercetin, and which helps close the gaps in leaky gut. So we do this combination of quercetin and L-glutamine for 6 weeks. And then if you're not on stage 1, you stop both of them for a month. If you're on stage 1, you're not even bothering with these. When you get on the stage 2, you've got some more exercise going. If you're just barely starting stage 2 and you want to try these things for the push to help assist repair the gut barrier, L-glutamine and quercetin is what you use for 6 weeks. Then you back off both of them unless you're continuing to work out hard. Because L-glutamine is also known as the king of muscle repair. And the older that we get, we're going to need some L-glutamine to help us if we're really working out hard. But the quercetin, you definitely want to stop every 6 weeks and give it a month break. Why? You want your own gut at that time. You're assisting it to close the gaps so that you're not getting all these toxins from the foods and all this gunk going into this and causing all of those 17 inflammatory diseases are all caused from the leaky gut, stuff getting out of the gut and into the bloodstream. So you want to be able to take the gut and help it close once you've been exercising and doing all this and cleaning up your diet. But then what you want to do is back off of it because you want to teach your gut to do that closing up itself. Do not continue to use quercetin. Do it 6 weeks, take a month off, then go back to your quercetin and L-glutamine for another 6 weeks. Do it a total of 3 times. That's about the most that I found that it actually worked. And this is latest. You're going to hear more of this coming out. But repairing barrier function is a combination of quercetin for closing up the barrier and strengthening it through L-glutamine, which is also king of muscle repair if you're working out fairly hard and strengthening your heart and doing all the exercise requirements of stage 2. So, we're going to let's flip on to the next one because we're going to get right into this. And so here I'm going to answer your question in this one. So, we've talked about the modality of diet. You have to be faster than that. You're going to miss it. There are any radio that you listen to in the car, they're already going to be on to the second sentence. Okay, we've already talked about the diet. Thank you. The modality of diet, exercise, and lifestyle changes are making the biggest impact on our energy and health on both stage 1 and stage 2. Supplements will not work unless that triple modality has been employed. Supplements have become a multi-billion-dollar industry. They're not the most important thing. That's why they were left to one slide right here. And I'm going to only touch on it briefly because the most important things that we can do to increase our energy and health is use the triple modality of diet, exercise, and lifestyle. Okay? Those are the things that are going to increase our energy and health. But supplements will do nothing without those 3 factors, but they can enhance energy and health performance once diet, exercise, and lifestyle have been employed and are a regular part of your daily routine. I do apologize for you that have ordered the copies of the screen presentation in hard copy because you will not be able to read what I've written. But maybe if you talk nicely to Stacy at the back, maybe we can get a printout. Do we have that printout of the... Yeah, so if anybody's ordered the hard copy, they also get an extra page which shows this supplement portion. So I want you to turn to page 4 of your handout and write down 3 additional items that are not there. Okay, first one, BioTrust Omega Krill 5X. So you're going to turn to page 4 of your handout. And right at the bottom, I've listed some things. And so you're going to write BioTrust, which is one word, but it's capitalized. So it's B-I-O, and then a capital T, same word, BioTrust. Omega Krill 5X. Omega, O-M-E-G-A, same word, but a capital letter on K, Omega Krill 5X. And you're also going to write down organics with 2 X's, O-R-G-A-N-I-X-X, Organa greens, all one word, but capital on the O and capital on the G. Organa, O-R-G-A-N-I, G-R-E-E-N-S. And the third one you're going to write down is AOR, quercetin. Those weren't listed here, but it was listed, some of them were listed here. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So bottom line, when it comes to supplements, make your own personal choice to add them or not. And always check with your healthcare provider. So now that I've legally covered myself, let me continue. In this modern Western diet, we have evolved, and now 90% of the world's population is struggling with internal inflammatory issues and diseases. Over 95% of the population is deficient in omega-3s, which reduces inflammation, enhances cognitive function, and lowers the risk of heart disease. And 100% of the population is not getting anywhere near the scientifically proven amount of DHA that we actually need for optimum cognitive function. This multi-generational world nourishment decline in cognitive function with increased cardiovascular disease and the fact that we're teaching everyone to walk around with an iPhone doing this is not a recipe for energy and health. Okay, what we have created is a very successful recipe for making unhealthy, energy-drained, chronic disease-filled, uncreative, low vocabulary zombies who will age and lose their minds. Okay, so we can counter this. They are not green team players. They are not the chosen ones. It's those people in this room that are the chosen ones and that are now going to be the example to the rest of the world, and we're going to age gracefully and not lose our minds. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, it depends on who I am, how old I was, where I live, my eating habits, how active I am, and where I'm starting from. So please forgive me if I'm making fun. I'm not making fun. There's some very serious issues now in terms of Alzheimer's, and there's some very serious issues in terms of dementia. We see it going on around all of us, in our close friends, in our families, in our church communities. We see it all over the place. But if I was a vegetarian who lives in a colder climate and cannot stomach tons of raw greens, I would take my methylcobalamin B12 to keep my homocysteine levels low, 1 scoop of organic greens to increase the polyphenols and alkalinity into my system, and if I wanted to improve my cognitive function, I would also add an advanced B complex, a choline and an inositol, 3 omega-krill 5X, a 2.2 plus 1 split morning dose of L-tyrosine, which helps me perform better under all types of stress, whether that stress be emotional, physical, mental, or sleep deprivation. It's given to every single cadet, whether in Army, Air Force, or Navy of the U.S. Army, to be able to help them deal with all types of stress. If I have stress going on in my system, that's stress going on in my system. So if I want something to help me with my stress, I would take L-tyrosine, which is just, we don't get enough of it from the protein sources that we ingest. It's an amino acid. So, and if I was a vegetarian who also had inflammation issues, I would take at least 1 probiotic per day, as well as exercise as outlined in stage 1. If I'm already on stage 2, I would up my daily probiotic to 2 to 3 times per day, and would also add in a quercetin and an L-glutamine for 6 weeks, and then back off on the quercetin for 1 month, but continue with the L-glutamine to help my muscles recover quicker. If I'm a meat eater who lives in a colder climate and doesn't get enough beans, greens, or avocados, now I threw in avocados for the simple reason that beans was one of the lectins. And if you had sensitivities, beans is not the best choice of folate. Avocados is an alkaline source of folate. So now I'm giving you a little hint. It's not just beans and greens, but beans and greens and avocados. So that, because meat eaters are not getting enough beans and greens. Not getting enough beans and greens increases the stress in your system. Your cortisol levels go up. You crave junk foods. And the next thing that happens, your homocysteine levels start to rise. Both your cortisol and your homocysteine levels, raised homocysteine levels are associated directly with Alzheimer's and dementia. So the majority of Canadians in cold climates are not getting enough beans and greens. I can't stomach large quantities of greens. I'm sorry, I'm just not cut out that way. In the summer, it was easier for me making my breakfast because I would just take like an avocado, and I would take berries, and then I would add nuts and seeds and everything to a smoothie. In the winter, I was having a difficult time. I said, what am I going to do with that? So now I've made this porridge with everything in it, with my berries, my nuts and seeds, and all of that kind of stuff in there. But I'm looking at it, and I'm not really getting a large amount of greens here. So that's why I add this organic greens, because it took me years, and I've got at home, I've got several on the shelf. I've got spirulina, which tastes like pure crap. I can't take it. It's been there for 4 years. I've got chlorella, and I've got this other one. They're all disgusting. They're really, really horrible. I can't do that. But I found one that's absolutely phenomenal, and this is the one that I take right now. And so you'll see that one of my things up there has this in it, and the other one has this in it, because this has 25, Vital Reds has 25 polyphenols. So in one of those, I've got a little tiny scoop. It's a little tiny scoop about the size of my finger. I'm getting 25 extra polyphenols. I'll tell you why this is important in a minute when we get to stage 3. And this one here has 71 of the most beautiful things that I begin putting into my body. And I go like, I'm a Canadian. I'm a cold weather person. I'm not running around naked in Southern California, being able to get as much juices and smoothies and everything else that I want. Did I say running around naked? Do you do that? So you want to be able to get your greens. If you're not going to get it from tons of spinach and all of this kind of stuff, you may want to consider supplementing. Okay, so again, if I was a meat eater, I'm not getting enough beans, greens, or avocados. I would take a scoop of organic greens to increase my polyphenols and my alkalinity. And if I wanted to improve my cognitive function, I would add an advanced B complex, a choline and an inositol, that's still part of the Bs, 3-omega krill 5X, a 2+1 split morning dose of L-tyrosine. And if I also had inflammation issues, I would take 1 probiotic per day, as well as exercise as outlined in stage 1. If I'm in stage 2, I would then add in quercetin and L-glutamine for 6 weeks, and then back off on the quercetin for one month, but continue with the L-glutamine to help my muscles recover. If I was an older vegetarian with very few inflammation issues, but was losing my mind, I would start walking 90 seconds every half hour and build to 30 minutes per day, and take my methylcobalamin B12, because just like meat eaters are not getting enough beans and greens and avocados and organics, and their homocysteine levels going up, which is directly associated with Alzheimer's and dementia, the vegetarians can raise their homocysteine levels by not getting their methylcobalamin B12, which is the form of B12 that's easily assimilated by the body. A lot of other B12s have to go into the system, react with other metabolic processes to get you the B12 that's necessary. So for me, I want to take it in the methylcobalamin form. That's the B12 that immediately goes in and my system can utilize it. And I would probably take, because if I was an older vegetarian losing my mind. Okay, now sorry about that. I really, sorry. It's just that to me, dementia and Alzheimer's are terrible diseases. And to me, I look at them as, I don't want to lose my mind as I get older. And so I look at it that it's important. And when I look at the statistics, and none of us are getting enough. And then we look at, none of us are getting the omega-3 for cognitive function, and none of us are, and 100% of us are not getting the required 10 times more than what they currently recommend out there of the DHA. And then I go like, okay, there's all sorts of problems out there. I'm not going to spend too much time on here, but I am going to say that when they gave omega-3s and DHA to school-age kids. They scored on an average of 5 basal points higher. And so we're not getting the amounts that we require right now in our lives. All right, it's time to stand up. It's time for some assisted help. Everybody stand up. Okay, this triple modality filled in 2018 with new diet, exercise and lifestyle changes and possibilities requires some assisted help that's greater than ourselves. We have to dig deep. So who's your inner power? Is your inner power Madonna? If so, your pose is going to be like this. Okay? And is your inner power Superman? Your inner pose is going to be like this. And is your inner power an all-inclusive tree of life? Okay? Now, and if you're a specially gifted person and your inner power is sometimes all three, like mine, your pose is going to go like this. Are you ready to call on your inner power and show it to everyone? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Do that again. One more time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys are awesome. We're on to stage 3. Okay, next slide, please. So, stage 3 is now, it's a year after joining our green team. My meals are built more of around of a what? What does it say on there? My meals are built more of around what? No. If you take a look at the little thing in green, and the bottom left, do you see the 3 words underneath the asparagus? What does it say? What's the first word? Right. Okay. So 1 year later, after moving away from stage 1 where you're just starting to add in more fruits and vegetables and trying to limit that meat, you're also trying to limit processed foods. Step 2, you're approaching things here, you're trying to get rid of other things. Stage 3 is really meant to optimize your energy and your health. Because it takes 20 alkaline things to neutralize one acidic thing in your system, this should be a motivator to all of us that, oh my gosh, if I'm choosing that piece of cheese, I need 20 other things to counter it. How impossible is this going to be? It's just a stage 3 is just to motivate you. You don't have to do any more exercise. But it's just to drive home the fact that none of us are getting the amount of plant-based or fruits and vegetables that we actually need for optimum health. So we need more of a raw alkaline focus for the simple reason is if you take a look at this page right here, in the first page of your handout, when you take a look at that, there is several things listed on that are above the pH of blood. Those are alkaline factors. So everything that's above a 7 are really good things to put into our system because disease loves an acidic environment, but it hates an alkaline environment. So if we want to improve our health and our energy, we want to take in more alkaline factors on a ratio of 20 to 1, which is like really impossible to get unless I'm adding in some helps. That's why I add in my helps. And because I know I'm a colder climate Canadian and I'm not getting enough fruits and vegetables. So the idea is to take your game plan, start it, one or two things, progress with it weekly and monthly, get to a point where you start to get on to stage 2, and then consider about this alkalinity factor and how important it is. So when you cook a vegetable, when you cook anything, it drops a couple of levels in alkalinity. So I designed the recipes because if I'm replacing these things, the grains, the yeast, the sugar, and the dairy, and adding in more fruits and vegetables, and I'm adding in the odd supplement here and there on a daily basis, and I'm trying to keep my mind going, and I'm doing my exercise, and then understanding that this increased alkalinity factor is really going to help things out. It's going to give me ideas like juicing once in a while and doing other things once in a while. So that's what I do. Like last night, I got hit with a lot of stress in 2017. 2017 was really tough for me, especially when I'm trying to institute a new game plan with my clients to push back their inflammation issues. And then I get hit with an Achilles tendon rupture, which wants to put me in bed and make me absolutely stagnant and not do anything. And then 3/4 of the year through the year, then I get hit by a truck, and I get my elbow fractured. And so all of this stress, and then putting together this talk, and the presentation, and I got sick just before. I got sick just before the New Year's. Do you blame me? Look at the amount of stress that I was under. But can you imagine if I wasn't doing any of these things or doing any of the exercises or doing that, what kind of a mess I would be here today? So, if anybody can do it, and anybody's an example to give you this talk, you're looking at him right here. Okay. So I'm really in stage 3 trying to increase my what-to-what ratio. Your what? No, I'm trying to increase my alkaline to acid ratio, 20-1. Takes 20 parts of alkalinity to neutralize 1 part of acid. So if you have a diet that's high in these things, how deficient for how many years have you done that? What's going on in your system? Are you running with the most optimum endocrine system that God gave you? Have you been victims of culture for the last 10,000 years? In the last 20 years, when they've even gotten worse in their farming practices? We need to think about these things, and we need to start going more plant-based and something that's a little bit better for us, a little bit better for the planet, and really start to take in the concept of these numbers here. It's like, wow, I am so far behind. And when you realize that, all I'm asking you to do today is to do 1 or 2 things. Right at the very end of this presentation, in probably about another 15 minutes, you're going to have about 5 or 10 minutes to put your own game plan together, 1 or 2 items. And that's going to be on your Green Team game plan table that you're going to start. It's just 1 or 2 items because that's where you need to start. If you don't start, you won't progress. So meat eaters, again, no matter what stage, need to have more beans, greens, avocados, perhaps organic greens. You see where I'm going with this? I started with we need more beans and greens. Stage 2, I added in avocados. Stage 3, I added in a supplement because I just know how far deficient I have been as a Canadian male living in a colder climate. Can't stomach the fact of eating tons and tons of greens and salads in the winter. So that's where it's at. That's the reality of where we live at. The body can adapt. Look at the Eskimos. Your body can adapt. Your body has adapted. It's been robbing you as best it can to keep that motor surviving from other parts of your body. But if you want to optimize it, I'm giving you the way in 3 stages. And so to help you with this particular stage, we're going to go right on to the next slide. And I'm going to mention to the fact that our pro players on the green team are green team gold card users. And so, I don't know how many people we have here. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We have just enough. I made 25. Okay. I would like somebody to hand these out. I've made for you your very own. So prop for stage 1 was enjoy real food. Right? Whenever you hear the word diet, the prop for stage 2, can everybody tell me what the props were for stage 2? Well, now you have a prop for stage 3, but I'm going to suggest that you can use this prop on any of the stages, okay? And we're going to take a look at that prop, and where's mine? So I made it the size of a credit card, so you can easily put it in your wallet, but it's to remind you to pull it out once a week. It's to remind you to pull it out once a week. For the simple reason, we're going to try to do something with this card once a week. And especially when we go grocery shopping. So really simple without getting too complicated. Once a week, here's what you're supposed to do. You're going to pick a goal off the right side of the front of the card. The front of the card has the hand on it. So on the right side, you're going to say, what do I really need to do here? Should I be adding in my 9 glasses of polyphenol water? There's a little note there. It says 20 parts of alkalinity to neutralize one. Oh my gosh, maybe I should be shopping for more for fruits and vegetables this week. It's reminding you to take your water, to do your self-talk, to get enough sleep, and your 2 fingers are going to beat the red team, your polyphenols and your probiotics. So you're going to pick one thing off there that you're going to do this week, that one goal. So it might be, you know what? He makes sense with this probiotic and this bad gut bacteria, good bacteria thing. I'm going to try this week to add in 1 probiotic a day. That's your goal for the right side of the card. On the left side of the card, see the red box? It says limit, get rid of, or counter. Do you see one other word on this front of this card that's in red? Lower right. Acidity. All of those things are acid. Disease loves them. So you might want to, one of your goals might be, you know what? He makes sense. I think I'm going to try to limit sugar this week. It's Christmas is over with. I don't eat any more Christmas cookies. I'm going to try to limit sugar this week. I'm not going to get rid of it, because that's a little bit too hard for me to do at this point. I'm going to try to limit it this week. Therefore, how many people are on the face of this planet? 7.5 billion. There's 7.5 billion different ways to apply these stages and these strategies. So I can't tell you what to do. Pick a goal off the right side. Pick a goal off the left side. You might want to say, this is the one that I did last night. Juice 1 apple, 1 beet, 1 carrot. I did more than that. I juiced 1 beet. I said, you know what? I've been sick. My energy level's been low. I juiced 2 beets, 4 carrots, an apple, and 8 mandarin oranges. And I drank that, and it was like, in one of the tall ones on my Ninja thing, it was like, whoo. It was just amazing. So pick one goal off here, one goal off here every week when you pull it out. On the back, I've done something amazing for you. This is your Green Team Gold Card daily picks. So once a week, you're supposed to, if you read all about it in your handbook, pick 7 of these things. That's basically 1 a day. And it's going to try to encourage you that next week, you're going to pick another 7. Because you can't just have the same game plan. You've got to progress on it and change it weekly. add something new, add something creative. Say, and I've listed them in alphabetical order, so the highest pH level, the highest alkalinity is always listed first in every letter. In other words, asparagus has a higher alkalinity than apples. Apples has a higher alkalinity than almonds. And everything on here that's not underlined, guess what it has a pH of? Higher than the pH of blood, which is 7. Do you not think that this thing here is a valuable little Green Team Gold card that is valuable for you to make choices that are wise for your energy and health? There's some amazing grocery shopping kinds of ideas here. And everything that's not underlined, that's the other thing you're supposed to do, is pick one item, because these things may not be higher than the alkalinity of blood. Some of them are a little bit lower, not too much lower, but some of them are very good for our health. So that's how you use this, without getting too complicated. Pick a goal from here, pick a goal from here, pick 7 things from here, and 1 or 2 underlined. If you did that at any stage 1, 2, or 3, it's going to constantly remind you about this 20 to 1 thing, about the fact that we're not getting near enough alkaline in our lives for our energy and our health. And keep it right next to your credit cards, because when you open it up, it's like, aha! It's really, really handy. Because why? If you put it on top of the fridge or by your nightstand or something, you're never going to use it. And I'm trying to give you props to use. I'm trying to give you this one on stage 1, diet. I'm trying to give you props on stage 2. And I'm trying to give you something to remind you about going a step further. Cool? Okay. Next slide. So now it's time to look at some sexy, creative, tasty, and delicious ideas, and those would be the ones on the right. And this gives you an idea, very briefly, of just some practical ways on how to apply all of this. So farmers markets, so that's where we get into the idea. GMO or non-GMO, or are they just taking Foodland Ontario items and upping the price at farmers markets? There's a whole pile of issues here. And I'm going to tell you something that the World Fitness Expo in August, they found results with all of their clients and patients, whether they were GMO or not. Do I prefer to eat organic? 90% of the time, I do. But if you can start getting real food, enjoying real food, whether it's GMO or not, across the board, their clients and patients saw health and energy gains. So what's the whole idea of this farmers market thing, jacking up the prices from Foodland Ontario and then trying to sell it? Well, to me, it's still a better social thing to get out and talk with people. I never talk with people in the grocery store, but I get out into fresh air, talking and getting vitamin D. I don't care if I have to pay a couple of dollars more. It's the whole idea of getting outside in the fresh air, in the sunshine, communicating with people. All of those things, don't you think they're healthy for your body? They're healthy for your mind? You're walking around in the fresh air, even though it's the Oshawa Center parking lot where the cars are going by. We have to work with what we've got, okay? So I enjoy going to the farmers markets. I now know which places to go to that are more dependable than others, and it was a learning experience. But that's one creative, tasty, and delicious idea, is a dinner in half an hour, no problem. There's my veggies ready to be cooked. There's my sweet potato almost ready. Don't those sweet potatoes look sexy? There was one presenter at the World Fitness Expo. Her name was Kathy Smart, and she had a great little line. And that line, where was it now? What did she say? Okay. Page 3 at the bottom. What does it say? Oh yeah. We humans were given two awesome pleasures: love making and food. Make them both delicious. I love Kathy Smart. So that's what I ended up with in a half an hour. I ended up with some homemade Ukrainian borscht with sunflower sprouts, roasted veggies on sweet potato mash, which is really easy to do, garnished with hemp hearts, pumpkin seeds, and grape tomatoes, served with Spinelli red wine from Italy. Wine is a polyphenol. Take a look at your list. Take a look at your polyphenol list on page 9. We got some amazing drinks, fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, and herbs and spices, and other. Look at other. Dark chocolate. Okay, this is not a difficult thing to start to get used to. I didn't list a lot of those things when I was talking because some of them like coffee, dark chocolate. But look at the herbs and spices. These are all great for inflammatory issues. Basil, curry, oregano, peppermint, turmeric. The fruits, the vegetables, the drinks that we can have, coffee, green tea, red wine. You know, you go out to dinner and you're out on one of those 20% moments, one of those 4 meals that you're going to mess up a week and still get away with it. It's the choice between having the dessert, the red wine, or white wine. What would you do? Of course, you go to the red wine and have your dessert. It was a better choice. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is an example of winning on the right there at Panera Bread. So if you take a look at it, I'm just going to help walk you through this because you cannot approach your plate without starting to put these things in the thing. And if you're lower on your omega-3s and your DHA, this might be a tad more difficult for you. So you may want to get your omega-3s and your DHAs in there so that you can start to approach your plate. But look how I did this. The number of lectins is 2 because I have a pastry, which is a grain. I have potato, which was one of those lectins. So sweet potatoes falls into the polyphenol category. Potatoes falls into the lectin category. And the nightshades. I'm not so concerned about this number 5 unless you have food sensitivity issues. If you had food sensitivity issues, there's a whole pile of other foods. They're all listed there that you should be trying to eliminate first and then gradually add them back into your life. So somebody said earlier about the grains, break up with bread because it has the yeast in it. Okay, so I do rice. My bread is that square bread. It's spelt and brown rice. That's the bread that I use. I've been trying different things like cutting butternut squash and roasting it. I've been trying to find other substitutes for bread. And so, it's difficult, but I get away with my grains. I do add in my beans because like it took me a whole year to get all these pictures and all these things together for you, and then to get a whole pile of raw alkaline recipes that you can throw in every now and again, because it's like everybody knows how to cook, but do we know how to cook good enough with raw foods to make them taste good? Because for me, if I'm going to replace a year ago when I had this Achilles tendon, I was living off of, because it was easy for me because I could just hobble over to the stove and stay there and make my sauce, spaghetti, and put tons of cheese on it. I did that for breakfast, lunch, and supper. And then about 3 weeks into that, I realized, oh my God, my mood swings and my depression and everything else was really kicking in. So I backed off on the amount of cheese that I was putting in there. I added in chia seeds on top of the noodles. I started switching the noodles from grain noodles to spiralized sweet potato, carrot, and zucchini. And 1 year later, I'm looking at way my food is now, and I'm going like, oh my gosh, all summer long I've been making these amazing smoothies with all this natural, real food in it. And it came winter again, and I went, now I'm making my porridge with all these things in it. Yeah, it's a grain, but look at all this raw nuts and seeds and fruits that I'm getting into it. And I'm going, yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, is gradually I'm watching my stomach issues go back. I'm going, you know what? I never had a stomach like this even when I was 22 years of age. And I'm 62 now. I'm going, hello? This works over time. Slowly over time. So my way of eating now is completely different than it was a year ago. Did I switch all at once? No. Do I make meals like this all the time? No. So a large time, my meal now, in the winter, for supper. So if I have a good go-to breakfast and a good go-to lunch, I basically do this. I simply take a handful of how do you say that word? Arugula, and a handful of baby spinach. I buy one of those Uncle Ben's 2-minute rice things. I add that into a can of no-name baked beans with maple syrup. Stir it up and pour it right on top of my greens there. Delicious. My supper took 2 minutes to make. And it's really, really easy. Okay, there's some more slides. We're going to ignore those slides. There's all sorts of we're going to get to that one right there. So stage 2 is all about beating inflammation, regaining my energy and health. We're going to win at every meal. We're going to exercise and some lifestyle. Page 21 is full of success story examples. Stage 3, maximize my healing diet. See the retention factors going. You all need your Omega Krill 5X. And some lifestyle choices through my inner power and the alkaline way and your green team gold card. Yes? That's how we're going to start to maximize on a weekly basis. All right, some more pictures. And we're just going to get over to the one that's energy right there. Okay, so there's a nice little daily example on how to get rid of stress. It's basically setting down quietly and trying to empty your mind, and like the morning example of trying to be grateful, the evening example trying to be grateful, really, really good for reducing cortisol levels and getting rid of stress. Next slide. How to thrive on a plant-based diet. So some great tips from Dr. Clapper for those wishing to thrive off of a more plant-based diet. Iron-rich foods are your beans, greens, spinach, and rice, and that will help optimize your iron absorption when you squeeze vitamin C or lemon juice over your greens, or take mandarin oranges with your spinach salad. It gives you an example on how to optimize your iron absorption. Next slide. Just pay attention to the magnesium-rich foods are dark leafy greens, beans, seeds, avocados, and soybeans. I tend to stay away from soybeans. And cutting cruciferous vegetables and onions to allow the phytonutrients to develop. So what a great idea is the next slide, to optimize your zinc and iron absorption. Just take, zinc and iron foods like pumpkin seeds, seafood, dark leafy greens can be easily thrown into a stir fry, and then add a little garlic and onions. And so that will help optimize your zinc and iron absorption. Can we do this? This is relatively easy to do, okay? This will help. Next slide. Pinch of regular salt. Don't use sea salt because it does not contain iodine. The iodine evaporates when the sea salt is being produced. So we're not getting any iodine from sea salt. I didn't know this. So it's one little point that's driven home to me is I'm adding a little pinch of regular salt into my foods daily. Next slide. So we want to assure that you're getting your essential fats and your DHA. The next one, this is where I differ slightly from Dr. Clapper's input. He's a vegan, but quite frankly, you're not going to get the scientifically proven amount of omega-3 or even close to the scientifically proven amount of DHAs you need from plant-based sources. This is where balance comes into play when it comes to my energy, and health. So I'm going to get my omega-3s and required amount of DHA necessary to maintain my cognitive brain and maintain my cardiovascular health from Omega Krill 5X. Do the research online, and I'm sure that you'll agree with your nutrition coach on this one. The next slide. Look at all the amazing things that are in real foods, just like chia seeds. Chia seeds has the equivalent calcium of 5 glasses of milk. It has the equivalent of 3 servings of spinach. It has, for iron, it has the equivalent of 15 servings of magnesium. It has the equivalency of 2 bananas in terms of potassium, and 3 times the antioxidant as 3 servings of blueberries. Real foods are what feed our system with and what optimizes our health and our energy. Next. So now the big thing out there right now is the Paleo Diet. This is way different from what we talked about 2 million years ago. 2 million years, 10% meat or fish. It had the leafy greens. It had the nuts, seeds, and the berries, and the root vegetables. The problem with eating a high fat and a heavy meat, he lays it out here, contains acid. It's a constant acid load on the system. It's hard on the bones, high uric acid, development of kidney stones and gout. It's high protein. It's toxic to the kidneys. Plaque-promoting bacteria, autoimmune disease, colon cancer. Next page. So paleo eaters are really setting themselves up for, and you're hearing a lot about this on the internet right now, how great paleo is. It's not. Colon cancer, heart attacks, strokes, autoimmune diseases, diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease. And the slide over here is just got a beautiful quote. Comfortably unaware explains so clearly how what we choose to eat has a direct impact on the health of planet Earth, how modern agribusiness and our thoughtless appetites are quite literally destroying the environments and the future of our children. I urge you to read it, to think about its message, discuss it with your friends, start to change the world one bite, one meal, one diet at a time. And then if you take a look at in the next page, there's some, if you have any reservations that you can't get strong enough on a plant-based diet or moving more towards a plant-based diet, check out these delicious specimens. There's Jim Morris on the left, upper left, at the age of 61. And there's Jim Morris at the age of 71 on a diet of rice and beans and greens. Maybe you don't want to go that route and spend that much time in the gym, but maybe you do want to walk up and down the stairs without pain and be able to get down and up and off the ground and play with your grandkids. And you can do that when you enjoy real food that are more plant-based. Which step are you on? Shout it out. I won't do it. I can't do it. I want to do it. How do I do it? I'll try to do it. I can do it. I will do it. Yes, I did it. Okay. Very good. And then next page. Okay, so this is the last slide just before we get into 5 minutes of creating your own. And we're pretty much going to be right on time. But this is my top breakfast. I tried to list all of the things just by putting in those raw fruits and vegetables that I'm actually getting, like avocados, vitamin C and the berries, I'm getting vitamins A and C. Herbs, I'm getting oregano, rosemary, and white sage. Seeds, I'm getting iron, magnesium, omega-3s, and potassium. Real foods give you all the stuff that's necessary for your energy. Flour and sugar and cheese and dairy do not. Then oftentimes my lunch will just be a couple of those snacks and power protein balls. So I'm going to ask the wellness team to bring out your snack because it's a power protein ball. I would like you to check that if you are allergic to any of the items in it, on page 13, I believe, of your handout. The only things I've added in addition to this are cranberries, hemp hearts, and maple syrup. And it has all the rest of these things in there. So these are something that you can easily do and make them up. And so now we're on page... we are on the page that I want you guys to work on while you're getting that, okay? So while you enjoy that, please turn to page 20. Now I just want you to pick out one or two things. First of all, you're going to put your name on the top of it, and you're going to put down whether you're a green team rookie, veteran, or pro. And you're going to say, where are you right now? Are you on stage 1? Are you between stage 1 and stage 2? Are you on stage 2? Are you between stage 2 and stage 3? Are you on stage 3? Or are you in perfect energy and health? And then I just want you to start. You may only pick one of your top 3 breakfasts. You may be able to pick one top breakfast and one top lunch. Please do not try to complete this. You need to go slowly, but hear me out. Once you, over the course of a couple of weeks, pick 1, 2, or 3 top of your top go-to breakfasts and top 2 go-to lunches. When all of a sudden a friend calls you up and says, we're going to McDonald's, and you go to McDonald's, the very next day you've got 3 that you can easily go back to that are going to get you back on track. Okay? So not having these things done is not preparing your game plan table for the week. So do 1 or 2 things. If you can, think of one lifestyle thing that you'd like to do this week. If you can, think of one exercise thing you'd like to do. And then I'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes just to kind of think that over, write 1 or 2 items down, and then we're going to close with the last 8 slides. The shake. Can we go back to the shake? That's the one slide just there. That is my meal. That's my breakfast. That's my top breakfast. Except I didn't really like the idea of a cold smoothie in the winter. So everything that I put in there except the avocado, I now put in my porridge. And wow, like my bowl is filled with all this stuff. And then I instead of the milk, the almond milk, I've got porridge. It's the large flake rolled oats. Yeah. It takes 10 minutes. So I take a third of a cup and a third of a cup into the bowl, and then I take a cup and a third of water and a pinch of salt, regular salt, right? And then I boil that and then throw that in there, put the timer on for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, I've got all of these little, I got 10 of them, of these little shot glasses. So a shot of pumpkin seeds, a shot of sunflower seeds, a shot of flax seeds, a shot of raisins, a shot of cranberries. I take 2 scoops of frozen blueberries and raspberries and on that spiral egg thing. That all goes in my plate. By the time I finish putting all of those 10 little things in there, the porridge is done, and I just pour the porridge over it, add lots of maple syrup, and mix it up. It's delicious. So you can change up the recipe however you want on the Power Protein balls. You can have like 3 items, like dates, coconut, and whatever. But I like to put everything in there because these are amazing. If you take a look at it, they're great for a 1,300 Thursday because that's 700 calories right there in one. There are 100 calories a ball, but you make up a whole bunch of them, and so. That's 700 calories plus 2 apples. That's 8, 9, and then having an amazing breakfast. So this one here, they're filled with alkaline, essential fatty acids. They're enzyme-rich, fiber-filled protein balls, and they're raw. I'm getting raw protein. Like, where else do you see that? I've had them for up to 3 weeks. Yeah. Is everybody almost done writing down 1 or 2 items? I'll give you another couple of minutes. And those are organic. They're apples I just got at the superstore. Some of them are Gala, and some of them are Pink Ladies. Quinoa, the one that I use right now is the one that's got wild rice and quinoa with chili in that Uncle Ben's 2-minute job. Yeah. I often make my, because I hadn't been feeling so well, I wanted quick things, but I often make my own chakati, which is my lentils rice casserole. Everybody here has pretty well had it if they've gone to the church, because that's the only thing that I bring in. It takes 19 minutes to make, and it makes me enough for an entire week. And that recipe is online on our communities, our Green Team Community Support Group on Facebook. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. We're going into our last little bit. I just want to bring your attention, that's on the right-hand side. That's one example of a reminder that we've got on our community, our Green Team Community Support Group. And it's like it has on it a reminder of a meatless Monday. It reminds us that we're trying to limit, counter, get rid of what the red team throws at us. And it lists some of the herbs and supplements for inflammation loss and shows an example of a 1300 Thursday. So that's one thing there. The next slide. I would like to thank you. Here's our friend. Look how full, he's so full of energy. I tried to create our friends to join us for a lot of the meals and your recipes, and he's now just flying along. He's definitely a Green Team player because he's rooting for you guys. You see that? Go Green Team, go. So I would like to thank you for all being a part of this triple modality of diet. Thank you. God. Exercise and lifestyle for energy and health, where the focus has been on enjoy real food. Please remember our Green Team Community Support Group. And if you have any questions, there's my email address, thenutritioncoach@outlook.com, where you can reach me. And finally, by now, you should have 1 or 2 things that you've decided on to start on your own game plan this week. So get ready to shout it out. Okay, and I'm just going to show you that I've got some things on my Green Team plan for this week. I plan on going swimming. So I've got my exercise. So you have every week when you pull out that little card, you're to visualize your Green Team game plan table for the week. So like I've got my vitamin supplements that I do on a daily basis, my probiotics, and my polyphenol water. So I call that 1. I don't go for a lot of supplements, but I go 1. Exercise. And I forgot to bring my loofah. I show you about the loofah rub that I do in the shower. But okay, so this is your Green Team game plan table. You should be able to pick out either a go-to breakfast, a lunch, an exercise idea, a lifestyle idea. We're going to do our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because it's been proven scientifically that if you don't do something and move on it in 5 seconds, Mel Robbins wrote an entire book on this and it's scientifically proven. It moves from the front cortex of your brain to right here, and the job of your brain right here is to get rid of it. So when you're approaching your meal, you better 5, 4, 3, what's on that? 2, how am I going to counter what I'm about to eat? Okay? Whenever your game plan table, you pull out that card once a week, you're going to consider your game plan. Am I stage 1? Am I somewhere in between? Do I want to do any stage 2 items? What do I want to do for my game plan this week? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it. Like I did it, my chiropractor said, to help me straighten my arm, I should take up swimming. So when do I use my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? In front of the mirror when I'm shaving, first thing in the morning. I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nothing. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Swimming. How sickening was that? Swimming. There was no confidence there whatsoever. I did it again. I was finishing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Swimming. Do you know that was the day that I went out and bought this, phoned Legends, and went swimming? If you don't do something in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's how you can make energy changes every meal, and once a week, set up your plan. So here we're going to go. You're going to shout out, and we're going to fill this room with energy and health ideas that are going to happen this coming week. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I didn't hear anything. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, even louder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, good. Now, let's go to the next slide. We're going to do this much more seriously because there's a real thought process in this 5 seconds. So this is the final one. When I finally said swimming, a little bit more confidently the second time around, I went swimming. So then I went 5. I only have 5 seconds. One last time. Am I going to get dedicated and serious now? 5. Yes, I am. In 5 seconds. 4. Who's my inner power? Is there something greater than myself? Is this inner power greater than myself? Yes, it is. Okay, I'm already, this 5, this idea of swimming. 3, is it time for change? Okay, I said, yes, it is. I haven't gone swimming since I was 17. Go, green team, go. 2, this is the hard one. Can you get past your resistance to change? Is your desire to go swimming, Dan, greater than my resistance to not do it? Yes. So 2, is your desire greater than your resistance? Are you ready to fill this room one last time with your energy and health decision that you're going to do this week? 1, fill this room. Shout it 3 times. What are you going to do? Go, green team, go. Last slide. It's time to move on your idea. Here's to our green team's energy and health goals for this new year. Go, green team, go. You guys are the chosen ones. Let's make this an example in the world. Thank you very much for coming, and please drive safe.